Okay, spoilers for Chainsaw Man Arc 1 and 2 ahead, so I recommend you read the manga. I'll be talking about the following sensitive topics, so if you know these themes aren't for you, have a great day. We'll see each other next time. For the rest of you, let's go. In this series of short videos, I will share the thoughts that plagued me when for the last few months I've been thinking about nothing except my favorite tool-based hero, who also happens to be one, Chainsaw Man. So, in Chainsaw Man there is this world they all live in. Now, not that one, this is only for devils, for now. I mean Earth. For all we know, the world looks somewhat like ours, with the most significant difference that devils exist. Like literal man-eating monsters running around, drinking blood like soda, and casually destroying buildings or even entire cities. To say that humanity is living in a state of fear might be an understatement. I mean, sure, you can get used to everything, but that is one hell of a challenge when it comes to some monster tearing your city apart. It isn't like the threat of nukes looming over society, like we had in the Cold War. First of all, because nukes have already been deleted by the story-breaking ability of the Chainsaw Devil, and secondly, because devils are actually way easier to control and handle than a nuke. Quick shoutout to Inyo Asano's Dead Demons Destruction. The first chapters really made me appreciate the mental strength my grandparents had to have, knowing their entire civilization could end any day because of some doofus decision out of their control. Anyhow, so essentially one of the major differences between the CSM Earth and our Earth is that humanity is endangered by some specimen that can easily take our place as the apex predator on this planet. I mean, just look at what the Doll Devil did. Now let's not forget that all of the major governments, meaning the US, China, Germany and Soviet Russia, because yes, in this piece of media they are still around in 1997, are heavily censoring the media, controlling guns, as well as managing an entirely other branch of government exclusively dedicated to fighting devils. I believe the world of Chainsaw Man to be a way more socially conservative one. Think about it. This world is a candy store for every totalitarian. The government has a very easy time to play into the politics of fear. A politician could easily appeal to an audience by endorsing higher spending on police and military, since everybody's under constant threat, not by another nation, but the amalgamation of the collective fear of a concept. I am honestly surprised that the world of CSM even resembles our world at all. Any progressive force would have a considerably harder time establishing itself, due to hate and fear strengthening the devils corresponding to a particular concept. I mean, is it really that far-fetched to assume there would be a homosexual devil, most likely looking like Elton John or something? About the military, by the way. There really is no risk to it. You can fearmonger as much as you want and nothing bad will ever happen. As we know, there were no more wars after World War II, so there's no real need to have a strong military, but since there is a political incentive as well as no real risk, I would be surprised if this, at least initially, didn't extremely favor any militaristic-minded party. This wouldn't work forever, because the public would notice that for all the money they blow on shiny new tanks, there's awfully little usage for them. But until this realization kicks in, a few decades would pass. By the way, we know that governments are able to form contracts with devils, since that is exactly what they do with the future devil, and also that's Makima's entire deal. One could argue that the people in power are disincentivized to do so because it might hurt their legitimacy or popularity. But in a world with news coverage severely controlled, why wouldn't they? In the eyes of the state, devils are not that different from any other ABC weapon, so the only thing keeping them from throwing these around is the same mad principle we have in our world. And as always, the population of a state is way more endangered of the state owning these means of mass destruction than any rival nation. Also, the population finds itself in a peculiar position. They are producing the fuel of the strongest weapons the government has. Fear. Whatever concept the public fears most are bound to be capable weapons. Now, we don't have to talk about our relationship with our mothers, but I do believe that psychology would be a severely more popular field of study in this world, since every government would be interested to find out how to manipulate a person's fear to either strengthen or weaken a devil. One could say, oh, that sounds like a way too complicated project of social engineering, No one would reasonably attempt that, and to that I say,
China. I love them. China.
regarding what our friends in the Middle Kingdom are doing with their social credit score and mass surveillance, unless you believe in an innate evil of the Chinese, I'd say it's not that far-fetched to assume other governments wouldn't act just as evil. Also, it'd be of national interest to decrease the fear of concepts corresponding to fears the government does not control. If I am the Chinese government and control the crossbow devil, I do want some school massacres to occur, with a crossbow being the weapon of choice for the perpetrator. But if I'm Italy and have little to zero fragments of the flesh of the gun devil, I'd rather keep the terror inflicted by guns as low as possible. This is what it boils down to. From the state's perspective, devils and fear are resources, just like fuel and humans. And Fujimoto knows this, and we know that he knows this, because he has acknowledged this once before, in Fire Punch. That is, by the way, one of the reasons I'm hoping the Chainsaw Man Church will shed light on the relationship of power between NGOs and the government. To make one thing abundantly clear, Fujimoto is keeping his roots hot and loose, so I'll probably be somewhat off from what he has planned. Nonetheless, I hope that I've shown you a reasonable way to approach the world of CSM. If you have anything to add, please let me know in the comments. See you in the next video.